I hope you guys had a restful day. I'm so glad you're able to join me today. I'm Kay Crystal Griffith, and this is Emotions, Wisdom, and Your Body, coming to you live for all of 2021. 365 opportunities to learn more about your emotions and how they interact with your body. So let's get started. Little disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I do not play one on TV or on Facebook or any of the other social media platforms you may be viewing this from. Now, what I do find is a lot of good research. I find the most hidden things in the hidden places and little treasures and nuggets of information that will make your life a little easier. So this is for education, edification, and encouragement. So what is our topic for today? Let's talk about those pesky repressed emotions, our repressed emotions, those ones that we don't want to deal with. We just stuff, we tuck away. We think, if I don't deal with it, it'll go away on its own. And they never do, because feelings buried alive never die. Let's just be realistic about this. So repressed emotions refer to emotions that you unconsciously avoid. These differ from suppressed emotions, which are feelings you purposely avoid because you don't know exactly how to deal with them. So we'll talk about suppressed in the future. But today, for our repressed emotions, they are definitely negative. Those repressed emotions don't get a chance to be processed. And that doesn't mean they simply disappear, though. Instead, they might show up as a range of psychological or physical symptoms. They think that conversion disorder has a deep root with repressed emotions, actually. The deep recesses of our subconscious mind are where our repressed negative thoughts and emotions linger. They hang out there, causing harm to both our daily thought processes and our bodies, right? So Healthline indicates that adults with repressed emotions often feel out of touch and disconnected from their feelings because they've had different childhood experiences. People in your childhood may have discouraged you from expressing intense emotions freely by just telling you to stop crying or stop shouting, right? That's a little different than invalidation. They're just telling you to stuff it, basically. And especially in that stereotypical men should not cry kind of concept. Yeah, that's a whole mess of junk right there. We should all cry because it's detoxing to our body. We need to cry. Those are good things. Now, the question is whether we're using that to an extreme to get our way, then that becomes manipulation, right? So that's a whole nother ball of wax. So when we talk about things that we've experienced in our childhood, as a result, if you were told not to cry, not to shout, not to do this, not to do that, not to feel those feelings that are causing issues, that begins to build up. So then there's some sadness, there's anger, there's disappointment, and there's a lot of emotions that you shouldn't have because you were told to stuff the other ones, basically. And at the very least, you don't get to acknowledge those to anybody because you don't think you're supposed to acknowledge those because that's what you were taught. Research has linked emotional repression to a decreased immune system. So out of the 10 days we've been doing this, let's see, how many emotions are linked to your immune system? If we discount the first day as our overview and now we have 9 other emotions, there's 9 so far. Yeah, those emotions, they affect your immunity. If your immune system doesn't work properly, you might get sick more frequently and recover more slowly. Thoughts can create a toxic environment inside your body. For example, repressed anger can lead to gut issues. Remember those ulcers that we talked about 6 or 7 times now? That can appear also, isn't this interesting, in bad breath, right? How many of you know somebody that's got just bad breath, right? And so it doesn't matter if they just brush their teeth, it's still bad. And then you kind of go, well, do they need a new toothbrush? Do they need a new toothpaste? Do they need a new mouthwash? What the heck is the problem, right? Here's what it's from. Repressed emotions causing those gut issues then build up stomach acid that comes through your system as bad breath. Who knew? I'm telling you, the nuggets that we find out about in all this. Repressed emotions can also factor into mental health conditions, such as our favorite, stress, anxiety, and depression, the top 3 right there. Also muscle tension, because we hold it right here in our neck, man. That's why when people come up and begin to like rub your neck or rub your shoulders, you're just like, oh, that feels great, right? Except me, don't do that to me. I love you guys, but don't touch my neck. All right, it also can show up in pain, nausea, appetite changes, fatigue, and definitely sleep problems. Childhood trauma is one possible cause of those repressed emotions that can also play into chronic illness. So many childhood traumas that you experience come out later in that childhood illness aspect. And that's a pretty big deal. So what if we have too many repressed emotions? What really becomes a big deal about that? Well, let's talk about that. Unresolved anger can lead to significant health consequences. But if you're struggling with expressing anger in productive ways, you can also face a higher risk of developing high blood pressure, digestive problems, cardiovascular disease. You can go take a look at our anger video. We go through a whole host of lists of things there. Now, the one that you want to pay attention to, which a lot of people don't quite realize is attached to repressed emotions. We think it's just our teenagers being teenagers, but in fact, it may be more. Sarcasm is actually repressed hostility disguised as humor. Now, I have a sarcasm streak. I definitely do. I think I've worked through all my repressed emotions, but there could be some ones lurking in there. But I would encourage you to kind of rethink your version of sarcasm moving forward in the future. So other examples can also include panic attacks, compulsive behaviors, addictions, people pleasing, and being overtly passive. So those are all things that you want to look at if you've got too many repressed emotions. So how do we counteract these repressed emotions? We obviously need to get them unrepressed. We need to bring them to the top. We need to process them. We need to figure out where they came from and why you repressed them in the first place. So what I'm going to give you today in countermeasures are actually some key actual ideas of different types of therapy and different things to think about. So make sure you've got your pen and paper. The first one is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as tapping, to where you're tapping on certain meridians in your body that actually allow you to release those as you're saying certain statements along the way. Now, I know that sounds like tomfoolery, but I'm telling you, it works like a charm. And I'm pretty much the person that's like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. And I got certified in it because I was like, I really want to test this theory out. And I have actually had more clients had more faster stress relief in situations and pain relief by using tapping than any other tool that I've given them. So I just want to encourage you guys. There is a lot of really great tools out there. EFT is one of them. So I'm also certified in that. So if you guys want to learn more, definitely ping me and I'll be happy to help you out with that. So that tapping offers you a release to process the emotions that arise, and it is extremely effective. Another one that I'm certified in is called Splunkna, and this is a Christian-based inner healing protocol. It's widely known to get straight to the root of all those repressed emotions and begin to release them out. Extremely effective. I liken one session of Splunkna to 20 years on a couch. Typically in traditional therapy, you can go round and round and round and round and round about a topic because you're in control of it. And if you don't want to talk about it, you're not going to bring it up. And if you've been repressing it for 20 years, you're not going to bring it up with this person, that's for sure. You've been busy repressing it. But Splunkna allows the Lord to come in and you're willing to hear from him and understand what he knows you're ready to deal with, even if you don't realize you're ready to deal with it. And man, it is so laser focused and targeted to getting in there and pulling that stuff out of you. And it is like night and day from where you were to where you are heading. And it's just such an amazing tool. And there's other inner healing modalities I'm also certified in. And I would just encourage you guys, once you get those heart wounds healed, it's a whole nother ball of wax out there, folks. How you interact with relationships and people and business and vision and identity, it's just life altering. So here's a couple of other things. So Healthline suggested some other daily options. One, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? So remember our wheel. I think my wheel's right here. There you go. Oh, there you go. The feelings wheel that if you sign up at kcrystalgriffith.com, you will get a copy of. And that feelings wheel allows you to really begin to identify physically what you're feeling as an emotion. A lot of us, because we've been told to stuff them or not deal with them or don't worry about it or suck it up. That's a good one, right? Just suck it up. You'll be fine. The world's not going to end, and keep on going, right? Yeah, well, especially for our kiddos and our teenagers, they have no idea how to do that. And really, we shouldn't do that. We should identify what we're feeling so we can process it, and then we can move through it. So ask yourself how you're feeling. If you're having a hard time speaking your emotions at first, try using words, colors, journaling, art, drawing. I'm a stick figure girl. Can't draw worth a click. But my kiddo, man, she'll sit down and draw her emotions, and it's just pretty amazing how they come out. So don't feel like there's a competition. Just sit down and just let the feeling flow. That's the biggest thing. You might even find a song that matches your mood. So another piece that they suggest is using I statements. Practice your expressing your feelings with phrases like, I feel confused. I feel nervous. I feel terrified. Focus on the positive. So it might seem easier to name or embrace the positive emotions at first. And that's okay. The goal is to just get more comfortable with really the emotions that you have, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent. But acknowledging that they're there is the first step. Let go of judgment. No matter what emotion that you're feeling, avoid judging yourself for having the emotion. If you are, in fact, feeling terrified, right? I know I shouldn't, but I just feel terrified. Okay, why did we dismiss this? The fact is, you feel terrified. Let's not dismiss it with, I know I shouldn't. Why shouldn't you? Who told you you shouldn't, right? That's an issue. That's a judgment. And so if you feel terrified, we need to ask more, what's terrifying you about this? Share with us. Is there something that's triggering something within you? What's that terrified feel like? You know, oh man, I feel like clamped up here and I just feel knotted up inside. And then if you know some of those tapping techniques, you can begin to go through that. Man, I feel terrified. I can't believe this is happening. This is more than I expected. What am I supposed to do? What's this supposed to look like? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through to the other side? It's that easy. But you're walking those systems out and tapping, and you're allowing your system to just come forward and express all those inner thoughts that are going through like whirlwinds, right? Super fast. The last thing is making it a habit. Practice naming and sharing your emotions with people that you feel closest to that are trustworthy. That's super important to add to that. Trustworthy people. Because if you're in a relationship right now where you're constantly being put down or they're dismissing you or you're being invalidated, that is not a trustworthy person. And in fact, that is not a safe person. That is a toxic person. And you need to remove yourself from their presence so you can get healthy. Now, I'm not telling you what that looks like, but I'm saying you need to live in a healthy situation so you can identify your emotions. You can have the emotions. You can feel the emotions, because when you are repressing them, whether through repression or suppression, you do not have clarity of mind. So you cannot make good judgment calls for yourself, for your health, for your family, for your children, for those around you that you're in charge of if you do not have clarity for yourself. Remember, you have to put your oxygen mask on first, okay? Now, what are our wisdom verses? There were a ton, again, actually, of repressed emotion, interestingly enough. So these are the couple that I chose. Psalm 139:23. Search me, O God, know my heart. Try me, know my anxious thoughts. Like, get to the very core of what's going on with me, Lord, and tell me what's going on. How do I walk through this with you, most of all? Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, he has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty, that's freedom, folks, to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound. When we're repressing those emotions, we are bound to them, just like glue, until we can get unstuck from them. That's why it's so important. So our last verse is Psalm 55:22. Remember, put your name in it. Let me give you an example. Crystal, cast your burden on the Lord. He will sustain Crystal. He will never permit Crystal to be moved. That's what you want to do. You want to remind yourself of the promises that he's given you. Thousands of them throughout the whole Bible. It's pretty amazing. So how do we apply this wisdom of repressed emotions to your life? Remember, wisdom is the meaning and the hearing, but we need the understanding and application. So 3 questions that you want to ask yourself tonight. How has your repressed emotions been showing up in your life? Through snapping at people, being snarky, irritability, maybe gut issues, maybe bad breath. How have your repressed emotions been negative or positive? In this case, probably negative in some form or fashion. And why? What's been serving you to hold on to those emotions? They haven't really been protecting you. They haven't made you stronger. They haven't made you more vulnerable by sharing them. So if you want to hold on to the repressed emotions, what purpose are they serving? It's super important. They're not keeping you safe, I promise. So how can you transform your repressed emotions? By wisdom, understanding, and knowledge as you walk forward in the future. So don't forget, put your name in the scripture, drop your comments in the links below. I'd love to hear today what your biggest repressed emotion was that you didn't realize was repressed. How did you get rid of it? How did you process it? How did you release it? Why are you holding on to it? Tomorrow's word is the opposite, joy, because we all need a little touch of joy in our life. So join us again tomorrow on More Emotions, Wisdom, and Your Body, and register at kcrystalgriffith.com to receive more insights and your healings. Can't wait to chat with you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed day.